In terms of hiring and retaining top talent these days, do you believe workplaces need to offer perks, benefits, and wellness programs to remain competitive?
Absolutely, Morgan. We've had some really, really interesting situations where we have introduced leadership well-being programs into organizations, and they have told us point blank that it's helped them to win the talent battle. They may have had a top individual that was interviewing with a couple of companies, and they chose their company because of how intentional they were about leadership health. So there's no question that the landscape is changing in terms of what people are looking for. Really, really top-performing business leaders understand that with that responsibility comes pressure and stress that will have impacts on their health. So if you, as an organization, are progressive enough to recognize that we then want to compensate you with a wellness initiative, right, as it relates to that stress, et cetera, then that puts you competitively ahead of a lot of other organizations for landing that really important talent. Again, if you're doing that type of thing, we have also seen that organizations will say people want to stay with us because of how dedicated we are and how genuine we are about helping them with their health. So that's, I think, the first part of that. The second part of that question was, you mentioned, about perks and benefits. We really want to change that conversation and get people to understand that a leadership well-being initiative is not a perk and is not a benefit. It's a risk mitigation strategy. And no disrespect to our very, very hard-working HR colleagues, but when we're talking about benefits and this type of thing, whether it's massage and physiotherapy and dental care, et cetera, that's really, really important. But risk mitigation is a different conversation. And when we talk about the health and well-being of business leaders and preventing them from having a heart attack or a stroke or something more regrettable, that's a conversation that we don't have with HR. That's a conversation we have with the business owners and the business leaders, because it really is about de-risking the company, and risk mitigation as a strategic intent typically lives with the business owner.
So moving away from looking at well-being as this fun extra and taking it really serious.
Well, well-being, the definition of well-being is very, very broad.
Yes.
That's why we have said leadership well-being as a risk mitigation strategy, because you can interpret well-being in so many different ways. But preventing your business owners and business leaders from being derailed by a health issue, that is risk mitigation. The corporate world is fun and it's dynamic, but it is stressful, and it has some pretty negative impacts on leaders' health, and we just need to find a way to make sure that they get off that burnout path and get back onto a burn bright path.